Welcome into this Thursday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Barham, Neil McCready, Clark Ford Studio today. First of two shows. Hand raise guys tonight. Be with you here this morning. We'll talk to Ben Mintz of Barstool Sports in the second or third segment of the show. I don't know where we're going to place it, but one of those. We'll also go over picks for the week, and if we need a little extra time, some questions from our rebelgrove.com subscribers. If we don't get to a lot of those, I'll spend some time today kind of going through answering a few in written form because y'all did take the time to do it. Gave us a lot of questions. I don't know if we'll need them or not, but anyway, they are there. Just a little insurance policy as the morning moves on. Hope all of you are having a wonderful day. Again, pretty chilly, at least relative to the time of year here in the Oxford area. I had the low tire thing this morning where
really?
Going to need some air in the tires because the temperature change a couple days in a row caused me to get down into 28, 29 PSI. So I have to handle that a little later today. But Ole Miss and Alabama, 9 days away, still more than a week. We got an early line, though. Ole Miss and Alabama, 9 days away.
So was that a preseason line that someone just found, or was that an early line?
I'm going to pull up DraftKings in a minute and see if I can actually bet that line currently. I'm not sure, but I think it's current. So that and more coming up on the show.
I would take 17 points today.
Oh, yeah. That feels pretty certain on which
if that's a trap, then I'll just fall into the trap.
Just go ahead and let the mouse get me at that point.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah. Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. They have their self-checkout up and running. Take care of yourself. Get back on the road as fast as possible. Also at all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi, you can get the Speed Pass Plus out, download it, earn points, save money there. And here locally, one more weekday after today to enjoy the lunch specials, $5.69, two sides, bread, 32-ounce drink there at Oxford Exxon and the Blue Sky. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for our buddy Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours, right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is completely up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today, 662-257-1900. Guests, including Ben Mintz, join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Be a great place this weekend, even though Ole Miss isn't playing. Other people are. Great games on TV. Some really intriguing games we'll talk about later in the show. LSU at Mississippi State, Texas A&M versus Arkansas, Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina, Kentucky. Be a great place to go hang out at Rafters, watch the games. I think the Ryder Cup's on also. Watch all of that stuff. Have a burger, po' boy, great appetizers, great beer selection, full bar, the whole deal there at Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford, also in New Albany. And probably starting to run out of time on Rafters on the water, but you can still enjoy great waterfront views, frozen daiquiris, frozen margaritas, and more at Rafters on the Water at Sardis.
Yeah, I just went into DraftKings, went to college football, and it appears that I can put a bet right now on Ole Miss or Alabama at 17 being the spread. Is minimum of 10 cents. It's what it's telling me. So, yeah, I can bet on it right now.
I might have to go do that.
Auburn and LSU, if you'd like to bet early, it's LSU.
How many Ole Miss games have you ever bet on with real money since you've been on the beat? Not Neil's picks.
2 or 3. And not in a long time.
I've never done a football game.
I've done one football game.
I've bet one basketball game.
I won the one football game I've done. 08 Ole Miss LSU in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I won money.
I felt really good about that.
I won money on South Carolina versus Ole Miss basketball, and I can't remember the year.
I remember that.
And it was close.
I do remember that.
It was close.
Yeah. Was that like one of those Devin Downey South Carolina teams?
I can't remember.
That's been a few years ago. I remember that.
I knew that the Ole Miss team had.
Yeah, we knew enough about what was going on locally, and then saw the line, and it was like I think that's we were talking with Jeffrey, and like, whoa, like, hey, there's a thing there.
That was a Vegas lesson because I knew that Ole Miss had internal issues and might not play all that well, and they didn't. What I didn't know, because I don't cover South Carolina, is that they had their own share of internal issues, and they didn't play particularly well either.
I tell you, though, these lines in general, if I really can bet on these, and I'm right in saying this, I like this other one, too, for the road team. Auburn getting 3 in Baton Rouge next weekend.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I like that a lot. I think Auburn wins straight up next weekend.
I do, too. I think Auburn wins in Baton Rouge. What's the Arkansas-Georgia line? How many points could I get on the Hogs?
mean, I don't have that as an option. My only October 2nd games that I can bet on are Cincinnati at Notre Dame.
What's that line?
1. Notre Dame giving 1 to Cincinnati.
Ooh.
Michigan at Wisconsin. Wisconsin giving 4 to the Wolverines in Madison.
Huh.
Texas getting 1 in Fort Worth against TCU. Auburn, LSU, Ole Miss, Alabama, and then Arizona State, UCLA.
What's that line?
UCLA minus 3.5 at the Coliseum. Or at the Rose Bowl,
At the Rose Bowl,
yeah.
sure, yeah.
Yeah. So those
I like that one too.
Yeah, those are the ones you can bet on early here on DraftKings.
Grind says Auburn hasn't won in Baton Rouge since 1999. Okay,
Neil has no interest in those stats.
This is where that stuff just, and I know people do it. That means nothing to me because I'm around these kids and I'm around my kids, and their interest in history like that is virtually nil. I just don't think it's in their heads on game day.
It only becomes a factor if it surrounds the program. If it's something where it's such a deal where it gets in guys' heads. I mean, frankly, kind of like Ole Miss's baseball postseason a little bit. Something where it's this monumental thing. I mean, I'm sure Florida, Kentucky, after a while became, oh, hell. Because you just it permeates everything. But I don't know that.
But I think there's a 0 chance on the Plains next week that players look at each other in the locker room or whatever, like before practice or.
Hey, we're screwed. You know that. Did you see what happened in that 0-1 game?
Did you know
they had a lead with like 8 minutes left and they blew it?
Did you know we haven't won down there since 1999? Guys would be like, what do you mean? They were playing football in 1999?
Yeah.
1999 was President Washington.
Yeah, so the quarterback wasn't born yet.
Yeah.
Yes, Ginger. Nick Fortes has had quite the little run here as he's gotten called up by the Marlins. He's been white hot.
Seeing fastballs.
Also tells you how little Major League Baseball fans know about the college game at all or anything else, because Brian and I were laughing a couple of days ago. Somebody had tweeted about Fortes and got this whole string of, wow, can you believe he's hitting? He was this defense first catcher, and it was like, he played first base most of his college career only because of his bat. Actually, no, he Cooper Johnson called. He was not there for his glove. So. Oh, Lord. All right.
The last time Auburn won there, though, I was a beat writer. It was
99.
It was my second year on the Auburn beat. My first year on the Auburn beat in Mobile. I remember that game.
So was that like Cole Kubelik and those guys?
Yeah. It was Cole Kubelik and Ben Leard and all those guys. That was the year before that year Auburn ended up being a bad football team. But they went down to Baton Rouge. Jerry DiNardo was the LSU coach. Auburn beat them, if I remember right. This is what drives me insane about my mind. I can remember a game vividly that I covered 20-something years ago, but I can't remember where I put my keys 30 seconds ago.
I know.
I think Auburn won 41-7. It was an absolute blowout. The Auburn players smoked cigars on the field.
I remember. I know. Yeah, I recall that.
And I had to get in the car after the game. I drove to Jackson, spent the night, got up the next morning, and drove to Oxford to do a story because Tommy Tuberville was going to play his old team for the first time the next week. Right. And the paper was like, go to Oxford and do this big story.
So what are you doing, like walking around the square talking to people?
But there was nothing open on the square on Sunday.
Yeah. Because back then it was really a ghost town. I mean,
yeah, and
Sunday closed down.
Yeah, and I needed to get to Auburn as fast as I could. So it wasn't like, hey, hang out for 2 or 3 days. So I ended up like walking to I got lucky. Ole Miss lost to Vanderbilt the day before, so the mood was not exactly pleasant. But I kind of walked around on campus and stuff and just found people and got a few quotes. And once someone gave me a decent quote, and then I went to the Ole Miss Media Day on Monday, left there and drove to Auburn to do the Auburn Media Day Tuesday. It was not a fun week.
Not good.
And Tuberville's like, where have you been? Because I wasn't at Auburn for the Sunday thing.
He asked you where you been?
Yeah. And I was like, I was in Oxford. And he's like, so you're writing a hit piece? I'm like, no, I'm not writing a damn hit piece. But he was in a bad mood about that. Because that whole week, like at practice, I was down at practice on Tuesday night. He comes over and what were they saying? I'm like, I don't know, man. I talked to like kids on campus. What would they say? They don't like you. I mean, but it's all. He goes, you think we're going to win? I'm like, They lost to Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, Ole Miss wins the game, and Tommy was in a horrible mood after that game and came into the press conference too quickly, made a comment about the Ole Miss fan base, and I wrote a column making fun of it, saying it was just dumb, small, that you're at Auburn and you can't let Ole Miss be your big game. It just can't be your big game. You're
if that's what you're really worried about, you have a problem.
Yeah. This is and then his quarterback got hurt in the Ole Miss game, and they went to Tennessee the next week and just got absolutely blitzkrieged by Tennessee and Knoxville. And I think that team went 4-7.
But
And my punishment for that was I got sent to TCU for a week to do stories for the first Mobile Bowl. See, how do I remember?
Hang on, you had to go to Fort Worth to cover a team that was going to come to the bowl game?
Yeah, for like a week. I spent like 4 days in Fort Worth.
Holy hell.
Yeah. And then
things that in 2021 wouldn't even cross any radar.
No, and then I got sent to Tempe to do T. Martin's last college game. I was in Tempe for a week writing T. Martin.
You went to Wisconsin, West Virginia for Pat White.
No doubt.
It was different world.
It was totally.
Papers like made money and shit back then.
Yeah, newspapers now would be like, no. Is there not a Zoom call you can get on? You know that Ole Miss next week, the post game for Ole Miss, because Ole Miss is the road team, is all Zoom. So like any national, it's going to be really interesting. Let's pretend Ole Miss pulls an upset. The national media are going to have to get on Kiffin's Zoom because I don't think there's going to be any in-person allowed.
No, that's right.
Because they can go to Saban's.
Correct. The SEC rule is road media is Zoom only.
But what about national media there to cover a game? They're going to write about the winner. Interesting.
Yeah. Let's see. Probably go ahead and go to Ben in a minute. Knock that out with him, and then we'll come back and look at some games, talk about whatever over the course of the show. So it's probably kind of where we're at. Yeah, but those lines are interesting. It's I thought that our lines were a little more palatable this week than last week, which anything can't be worse. We made fun of Zach last week, and I was one game worse than his week last week. By far my worst week over the course of the how many ever years we've been doing Neil's Pick, but that's okay. It's early in the year, 5 back. It's got to chip away. It's all good.
I thought this week's lines were really difficult.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was frustrated with
it. I need like a St. Louis Cardinals September, and we are golden. We're going to make this happen.
I'm just going to pretend you didn't say that.
I did love every fan base probably wishes they had this one thing of the message board talking about, you guys are really hot and all, but, you have to go through the Dodgers in a one-game wild card. You have to go through the Giants and whatever. And like, oh, yeah, we're fine. It's like, I've never had that much confidence about anything in my entire life as you do about going through the Dodgers and the Giants back-to-back in the playoffs.
No. Well, it's like in 2016, I knew the Cubs would lose to the Giants. I knew they would lose to the Dodgers. I knew they'd lose to the Indians. And then in Game 7, when Rajai Davis hit the home run, in that moment I had to be a dad because my son melted down. But I knew it was over. And I knew they'd never, ever go back. So the people that go through fandom positively, good for you. But I can't relate.
Yeah. All right, about 25 minutes with Ben. We'll do that in a second. First, about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. So you're getting local underwriting and understands your market, a leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
We're also brought to you by Walk-Ons. Walk-On Sports Bistro puts everything they've got into bringing you game day with the taste of Louisiana. Dig into their mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine like po' boys, gumbo, voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers, fresh salads, quality fresh ingredients you can't help but crave. They create an environment that fosters growth and belonging for all, where the team is bigger than the individual, where they exceed expectations and positively impact every community they serve. Think you have what it takes to bring people together and provide a memorable game day experience? Visit 720 Highland Colony Parkway in Ridgeland to join their team today. Walk-On Sports Bistro, more than a restaurant. I'm actually going to be in Ridgeland tomorrow. I actually looked it up because I was going to see if they were open. According to the website, they open on Monday.
Oh, okay. Just missed it.
Yeah. So if you're down in that area, please do us a favor and make a visit and tell them that you heard about it on the Oxford Exxon podcast. That would be very nice. We would appreciate it. Also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. Brought to you by Muddy Water Camo. Enter the promo code Rebel Grove. Get a 35% discount on any products from the site. Free shipping on $100 or more. They've got the Muddy Water Lady Camo apparel that's out. They've got a lot of new products that are out. They also have those heated vest and jackets, which 2 weeks ago you'd be like, I can't think about a heated jacket. Today, you can start to think, won't be long. MuddyWaterOutdoors.com, promo code Rebel Grove, 35% off. Same promo code at Dead Soxy, DeadSoxy.com. You get 25% off your entire order at Dead Soxy, the best socks you'll ever put on your feet. Some really stylish Mississippi-themed socks there at Dead Soxy. So check those out, DeadSoxy.com. Also can go to 7SouthTailgating.com. Kyle Thornton and the gang will get you ready. Ole Miss at home in October against Arkansas and LSU, and then 3 November dates. So whether you're just tailgating for a single game or you're wanting to book the rest of the season, they've got packages available for you specifically for your tailgating needs. 7SouthTailgating.com, 662-321-1682. And when you're in the Grove, you want to have that Game Changer patch ready. They're the only 2-patch system available in the market today. They've got the warm-up patch, which is used before or while you drink. The overtime patch is used after you've been drinking to recover while you sleep. The all-natural ingredients will keep you in the game, ready for the next play. Go to GameChangerPatch.com, enter the promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 25% off your entire purchase.
Podcast also brought to you by Visit Oxford. Visit OxfordMS.com. Go to the events page, see everything going on this week and every week. Tunes around town, bus tours returning before the Arkansas game the day before. But in the meantime, again, you can go to all the different tabs there on the site, see where to stay, where to eat, what to do, and more. Visit OxfordMS.com/events. We'll go to Ben Mintz now on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline for in the stream. Hang out. Neil and Ben talking college football, NFL for about the next 25 minutes. So here's Ben Mintz from Barstool Sports.
Ben Mintz, Barstool Sports, back from a Hooters commercial that he filmed in Florida. He's back in New York today. Ben was saying he wasn't sure he'd have the energy that he normally has because, we all go film Hooters commercials all the time. So, he didn't really know how to gauge energy level after you spend a day or a couple of days filming Hooters commercials. So
it was funny. I'll say this, like life, this Barstool thing never ceases to amaze me. But going to tape a Hooters commercial in Florida, I mean, this one I don't even know what to say. But the thing is now I'm learning what it's like on set in these commercials. It's kind of a racket. Like I got there, they're like, oh, you got to be here 7:30 a.m. sharp. Just sit around from 7:30 to noon. And they're like, all right, sit here and do this for 3 minutes. So you travel 6-7 hour round trip flight, sit there for 5 hours. And I literally did 3 to 4 minutes worth of work. I mean, it's too funny. And then also, I'm getting people laughing because I get messed with for having man boobs sometimes, being a bigger guy. So the joke kind of writes itself with me being in a Hooters commercial. But I just laugh about it, it's just part of the deal. I think Walker likes having me around, though, because people used to come at him about that. Now they just come at me. So whatever. You deal with it. Being in the public eye, you never know.
It doesn't matter how much I run or how much I work out or how much weight I lose. I keep mine. I've had them since I was a little kid. They're just an absolute effing nightmare. I hate them with a passion, but between that and baldness, I feel like I just got no breaks at all in the looks.
I just think it's all about when you're the public eye. I just laugh at it, man. We're all human. I mean, I try to exercise. I mean, I try to do what I can, so I just think it's funny. But the jokes do kind of write themselves sometimes.
They do. All right, I want to get into some games this week. But I want to start with this because it's already the talk here. It's Ole Miss and Alabama next week. Ole Miss at 3-0. They're 13th in both national polls for whatever polls are worth. And I don't know, it doesn't matter. Like Lane Kiffin said on what's today? Today's like Lane Kiffin said on Wednesday, the only poll in college football that matters is the last one. So, it doesn't really matter. But the point is, they're there. Ole Miss is passing the eye test with flying colors. I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume that Alabama beats Southern Miss on Saturday night. It's going to be number 1 Alabama, number probably 11 or 12, probably at that point, Ole Miss in Tuscaloosa. What's your guess, Ben, on an opening line on that game?
I've been thinking about this a lot. So, first of all, I want to comment, how about that effort against Tulane? Because I had all these Tulane fans talking all this noise to me on Twitter. I mean, get out of here. I was all over that game. I had Ole Miss first half. I had us minus 14. I moved the line to 20.5 on Barstool. I was so sure that, I didn't know we were going to win 61-21, but I knew we were going to beat them very, very badly. So I felt kind of vindicated about that one. My early guess on this one, so Bama was up 21-3 on Florida. Florida really fought hard, came back. Really, the thing that surprised me the most about that was the way Florida played against them in the trenches. You think about Alabama dominating trenches. Florida was pushing them around, man.
Yeah.
And that gave me a lot of hope. I'm going to say Bama is still going to be a decent favorite. I'm going to say 12.5, 13, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that. Our power rankings getting really strong, though, because the way Vegas works, the power rankings, when you blow teams out and your metrics get really strong, our power ranking is going to be way higher than number 13, by the way we've been beating people. And so I'm going to say I'll go Bama by 13, 12.5 or 13, I guess.
Yeah, I've been guessing 11.5.
Okay, so we're in the same ballpark.
Yeah, we're in the same ballpark. And 11.5 might be a dash low. You're probably right. 12.5, 13, probably where it goes. And I got to tell you, it's a long time between now and then. I think if you're going to give me 13 points, I'm going to take the dog there.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a lot of factors where it's easy. I try to be impartial, and you've always made a career out of this. And you're not even you're not super diehard Ole Miss, student and all that anyway. But yeah, no, in the least. That's part of what makes you really good at what you do. People know you're not giving homer takes. You're going to tell it how it is. And I look at it from a gambling angle. So, when you're looking at it from the gambling angle, yeah, of course I support Ole Miss. They're my favorite team. Obviously, everybody does this. But, I don't try to put the homer glasses on it. I try to look at it analytically. But there's a lot to like about this. And I think you just look at last year when Ole Miss went up and down the field and scored 48 points on them. Ole Miss isn't going to be afraid of them. They showed last year with a team that was way undermanned, they could score on them. So you already got confidence on that front. And then your defense is playing way better. And Bama is with 3 returning starters on offense. Reb's got a shot here. Definitely have a shot.
We talked about this a lot. I just kind of want to get your thoughts on it because it's you keep up with it as well as anybody. It's a credit to Saban. It really is. It's a credit that I don't know that we give him enough credit for. That here over the last, Ben, 7, 8 years, every year they lose this stockade of players to the NFL, and they just reload and they just replace them. And you take it for granted that happens. You lose Mac Jones, who's now a starting quarterback for the Patriots. You lose Najee Harris, and you lose Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith, who won the freaking Heisman, and you lose Leatherwood and the center Dickerson, and there's other guys that you
never ends.
You lose those people, and then you lose guys off defense, and you go, okay, well, and the assumption is, but they're Alabama, and they've got these 5-star guys that come in, and they're just going to replace them, and boom, they're going to be ready to go, boom. And then when it doesn't happen, the 1 year it doesn't happen, the media does this hot take thing of, oh, is it over? Is the king dead? And you're like, well, hold up. No, the king's not dead till he's been dead for a little while. And they're still very much alive, but you're right. They do look a little vulnerable. They look a little, for the first time in a long time, Saturday in Gainesville, I watched Alabama and went, boy, they look like a young team.
Yeah, and especially the way they dominated early. Usually when Bama gets up 21-3, they just choke you out.
Lights out.
The line of scrimmage and it's over. And Florida dominated that second half. And also there's the way they were able to run the ball and move the ball. And I don't know. It definitely gave me a lot of hope. Alabama's obviously still a tremendous football team, but you're right. There just comes that point. You're seeing it all over the country this year too. Clemson, Ohio State, Oklahoma. all these teams that have been dominant for so long, you just assume that they're going to do it forever, but that's not how it works. I mean, they've all lost All-American quarterbacks. So, yeah, I think it's wide open this year. And, I mean, right now the Rebels, I mean, there's a lot that has to go right because we're all really excited for a million reasons and need to be. But Ole Miss's depth is still not there on that, like, superpower level. But right now it's early in the year, got a bye week, everybody's healthy. So, I mean, I'm feeling good that what I think could get Ole Miss this year is this run that's about to happen. That's Bama, at Bama, Arkansas, at Tennessee, LSU, at Auburn, Liberty, A&M, 9 weeks in a row. Those last few games, could be tough because of the depth thing. But I think right now you got to feel pretty dang good, man. There's not really much not to love.
You're there in New York, media capital of North America, maybe the world. How much Matt Corral buzz is there right now in the city?
The over on that. I mean, he's 2-1 to win the Heisman Trophy right now on the Barstool Sportsbook. And then what a matchup this is. You got Corral and Bryce Young and 2 Heisman favorites. You got the Kiffin-Saban crazy dynamic. I mean, this is all of a sudden we're looking up, and this is the biggest football game Ole Miss has played in a long time. I mean, this thing all of a sudden, just the way it broke with Ole Miss getting hot and the Kiffin-Saban. I mean, this is this is one of the top 2 or 3 games of the year in the SEC all of a sudden.
Yeah,
this thing is a monster. And also want to mention, talk to Dave Portnoy. We're doing a huge stream for it. It's going to be Dave, me. I think I'm going to be in the middle of the electric chair, they call it, reacting. That's going to be next Saturday. And so, 10-day countdown. I mean, I'm already kind of nervous, anxious about it. Be on the lookout I'm going to write blogs on the 2014 and 2015 wins because I was back in Oxford and went to both of those. And so I feel like to get in the spirit of this thing, we need to go ahead and, get this rolling.
All right, we'll be looking for that next week. All right, let's talk about some of the games this week because there are a few really good in the league.
A lot of underdogs. So what was interesting to me this week, Neil?
Yeah.
Love a lot of underdogs. A lot of them. Went through the board. I always, Tuesday nights, my process is Tuesday night. I take my first big look where I go through everything, kind of write down early lanes. And, man, the underdogs are singing to me this week. So that's going to be, that's the big thing.
All right, let's start here. LSU at Mississippi State, 11 a.m. game on ESPN Saturday. Like I said, in Starkville. LSU, according to me, I've got it at LSU minus 2.5. It might have changed.
That's what I got it at too. And I'll tell you this.
What do you think?
Obviously, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know I'm cheering for LSU in this matchup. Every single gambling trend that I follow closely loves Mississippi State in this game. Loves them. Not even just
like what?
Okay, so there are a few I follow.
Okay.
First of all, Mike Leach teams going back to Texas Tech. I've said it on here every week. I've been right every week.
You've nailed it.
Their favorite run when they're an underdog, jump on it and look at the NC State game. Look at Memphis and Louisiana Tech. So far, it's been exactly that. Mississippi State also, this is the one gambling trend I followed for 20-something years. I'm not normally a trends guy. I usually think people overrate that stuff. But when a team loses outright as a road favorite, State was a 3.5-point favorite in Memphis, and then they're a home underdog the next week, jump on it. I mean, it makes sense because you lose a game you're supposed to win. You go home, everybody says you suck, it's backs against the wall, great week of practice, everybody together, got to go out and prove it. I mean, it kind of makes sense in theory. But State hits that. Then the other one, the 2.5-point road favorite line is the number one sketchy line there is in the game. Because Vegas puts a line out there where you're like, oh, LSU's a better team than State. All you got to do is win by a field goal if you bet it. I'm telling you that. When you see road favorite minus 2.5, I see that line and just puts alarm bells go off every time, that specific line. So you're looking at Leach as an underdog, State in a bounce back spot, and that sketchy line. And then you factor in 11 a.m. LSU's notorious for playing bad in early games. Cowbells. Also, LSU's offensive line looks horrible, and State's tough up front. I don't know, man. I'm not going to bet on it because I can't bet on State. I don't care that much about the money. But everything I look at like State here. And I hate that.
I watched LSU on Saturday night against Central Michigan because Ole Miss didn't kick off till 2 a.m. or something. And I watched it, and LSU looked really good. And I was like, yeah. And then I've had to remind myself as the week went on. That was in Baton Rouge. It was at night. That was Central Michigan. Bad team. Yeah.
The MAC thing is just – the Sun Belt's so much better than the MAC. I mean, even if they played like Troy or whatever, that would have been a lot more. But when you play the directional Michigan, which are the 2-star kids that can't get scholarships to like Indiana and Purdue, take it with a grain of salt. So I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I hope LSU comes out and beats the hell out of them, but I don't know. Got some real concerns on it.
Both of my daughters are going to be in Jerry World on Saturday afternoon. Arkansas and Texas A&M renew that rivalry after last year they played the game in College Station. I think this year it's back at Jerry World now that the pandemic is alleviated to some degree. The game's on CBS at 2:30. I've got A&M minus 5.5, and I go back and forth on this. For the longest time, I liked Arkansas in this game, and then I started kind of looking at some stuff, and the more I look at it, the more I think I'm going Aggies. But what about you?
Man, this is one of those games where A&M wins every year in the series by 3. I mean, it's like crazy. Arkansas is always the underdog. And they always fight really, really hard, and they always lose at the end. And I feel like we could see a similar spot here. The thing is, though, everybody's talking about Arkansas here because of what they did to Texas, but Arkansas manhandled Texas the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I don't think they can do that to A&M. I think A&M's tough, especially on defense. Arkansas's got a tough time moving the ball. So I'm kind of neutral on the A&M by 5.5. I mean, I feel like Arkansas's a little bit of a public underdog, which always scares me. Like everybody's talking themselves into it, especially with A&M having a backup quarterback. So I'm probably just going to sit this thing out. And I think A&M wins like by 3-7.
Yeah, I had somebody kind of close to it say 24-20 A&M was sort of what he thought the way it would play out. I just A&M's defense is so fast, and they can bring people up. And against Jefferson, you don't really have to respect the deep balls. I think they can overwhelm them with the line of scrimmage. Arkansas's got a couple offensive linemen that are potentially out for the game. I think I'm going Aggies. The problem from a money standpoint is, gosh, Ben, I hate to put much money on Zach Calzada because I hadn't.
Oh yeah, and laying 5.5 too. I think it's a sit out and watch it game.
Yeah, he could give away 14 points himself. I mean, because Arkansas's defense, everyone gets hung up on the offensive part. Their defense is pretty good.
Oh, Barry Odom's doing great. I mean, look what he did to us last year. No, I agree with you. I think this is just a sit-back game. It's just I'm always leery of, like, really public underdogs, and, like, everybody's on Arkansas this week saying they're going to win this thing. So, I don't know. This is a tough one to call. I'm going to sit back on it, I think.
A couple other SEC games I want to get your quick thoughts on. Kentucky minus 5.5 at South Carolina.
South Carolina's getting Doty, that quarterback, back this week, which I think is interesting. I mean, we've seen it because they got us in them games. Columbia night atmosphere, I mean, that's going to be a rowdy atmosphere. So, I mean, I feel like Kentucky's definitely the better team, but I'll probably stay away from this one as well, which I know is a huge cop-out. But I would rather have Kentucky by 12 at home than Kentucky by 5.5 in Columbia in a night game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The Bama one, I actually like Southern Miss in the 45.5. Bama just beat Florida, has Ole Miss, and Saban's like really bad against the spread in the 40-point line games. I mean, they're going to jump up early. He don't care at all about running it up. He's just worried about being healthy for Ole Miss. So, I mean, I feel pretty good about the Southern Miss 45, getting the 45.5.
Give me your thoughts on Tennessee plus 20 at Florida. So,
man, Florida, it's like you always – one thing that's a gambling theory is like you bet against the team that played Alabama the week before because you get beat up physically a lot. But, man, Tennessee's just – I mean, they're horrible. I mean,
I didn't think Florida got beat up.
No, they didn't. And the other thing is Tennessee, not just are they bad, they lost more transfers than anybody last year. Everybody that was good left. And Pitt went up and down the field on them. Man, I just hate laying 20. But, I mean, I guess if I had to make a pick, it'd be Florida. But I don't have too strong an opinion on that. Tennessee, they're horrible. I mean, they're just not good. There's no getting around it.
I didn't touch on Missouri minus 2.5 at Boston College. You got any thoughts there?
Well, Jerkovich, the BC quarterback, who had a really good year last year, is out for the year. And so I would have liked BC if he was playing, but I know that's a factor. I still wouldn't trust Missouri going that far up there. BC's a well-coached team. That's a sketchy trip. So, I mean, I would say BC or nothing on that one.
National game that's of interest, of course. Notre Dame, Wisconsin, they get together in Chicago at Soldier Field.
Barstool College football show going up there, 9:30 Saturday morning. That one, so Notre Dame's a 6-point underdog. My thing with that is I can't lay 6 with Wisconsin. The over-under is like 46. When you lay with 6 with Wisconsin, I mean, they're trying to win 23-14. I'd rather – there's just not going to be a lot of points. So I'm actually leaning Notre Dame in the 6 because I think Notre Dame can, like, decently stop their running game. They're not soft in the trenches, and I think this could be a close game. Not that Notre Dame even looks that great. Jack Cohen, Wisconsin transfer, certainly that's an interesting storyline to this game, but it's just hard for me to lay points with Wisconsin when you hope they score 24, 27, and so your margins are just too small.
Yeah, and you got the quarterback angle here. The kid at Notre Dame was the quarterback at Wisconsin. He's going to want to play out of his mind against his.
I think I may end up on Notre Dame in 6 here. Because I could say I just think it's like that's just a lot of points in a low scoring game.
Any thoughts on NFL games this week? Anything have your attention?
Well, the Saints situation's tough, man. I mean, you just hate to see it, but I like the amount of injuries they've already had, and then like what happened in Carolina. I mean, God bless, that was just rough, man. James Winston's thrown for 259 yards in 2 weeks. O-line's reshuffled because McCoy getting hurt. I mean, you basically don't have an NFL receiver on the roster right now. Defense, Quan Alexander, Davenport out. Hopefully Lattimore and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson will be back. But, I mean, you never know what's going to happen. But I have a hard time seeing the Saints winning in Foxborough this weekend with all that stuff going on. Some other ones I'm looking at in NFL early. I like Minnesota +2 as a home dog against Seattle. They're 0-2. Vikings have a great home field advantage, too. They got to win this game. And they should have won last week. That kicker screwed them with that 37-yarder. He missed to lose by 1 in Arizona. I think Cincinnati's actually going to compete with Pittsburgh. They're getting 4, 3.5. Big Ben may or may not play. It's going to be a physical, low-scoring game. That Steelers offensive line is tire fire right now. And so with that, I think that's going to be a close game and a battle. The Las Vegas-Miami line looks really suckery. You look how Vegas has looked so far, 2-0, beat the Ravens, win at Pittsburgh, and now I'm seeing it at 3.5 at home against a Miami team with 2 out. That should be 6. And so, like, whenever I see a line look lower, like, I feel like the public, everybody's going to be on Vegas. That one looks really weird to me. That's an alarm bell trap one. Biggest game, Bucks at Rams. Bucks by 1.5. Opened at Rams by 1.5. Now it's moved 3 points. Instinct sort of like the home underdog here a little bit. Hard to go against Tom Brady, but I think I like the 1.5. And then the one Sunday night, I like San Francisco against Green Bay. Niners are 3.5-point favorite at home. These teams have played a lot the last few years, and San Fran has just murdered them at the line of scrimmage. Both sides of the ball. D-line dominates. O-line dominates. We all remember the NFC Championship game when Garoppolo threw like 12 passes. I just think it's a bad matchup for Green Bay, and San Fran should handle them. So I'm kind of strong on that one.
All right. Really appreciate all of that. I know that a lot of people have been asking me to get some NFL picks from you, so I was glad to do that.
College, I want to mention Clemson and NC State real quick. Yeah. That one, this Clemson, did you see the Georgia 14 points against the Ramblin' Wreck? DJ, I don't understand. Like, Clemson, as good as they've been, they don't have an O-line. They have like one receiver. They lost Etienne. DJ Uiagalelei, who I had huge hopes on, he's not very mobile. I don't know, man. It looks rough. And NC State, people aren't maybe smelling this enough because of what happened in Starkville, but I still think they're good. I think they just got hit in a tough spot with the Cowbells, road game, Leach underdog, all that stuff. We were on that. I like NC State, the points here. This is not going to be a high-scoring game. NC State fights Clemson a lot. I don't know how you can lay 10 with Clemson right now. They can't move the ball. So I think NC State is it's a huge game for them. The crowd's going to be super rowdy. I'm looking at that one. Let me see if there's any other ones. I said Southern Miss. Yeah, that's pretty much most of them that I've got. Shout out to Tulane finally getting back to New Orleans. They're hosting UAB. They've been on the road for a month. I'm happy for them.
Absolutely.
I'm just happy for them with everything they've gone through.
Yeah, I hope they have a big night against UAB. And nothing against UAB. I just can't. Those Tulane kids sort of deserve a good night.
Oh, yeah.
New Orleans. Yeah.
They do. And then also last one, I like SMU plus I'm seeing it at 9 right now at TCU. Should have been on our old God. Did you see that Louisiana Tech? They should be 3-0 in top 25.
I know.
You have wins over State, SMU. I got over 4 wins on this year. If I don't hit that win total, I put 3 units on, I'm going to lose my mind. But that poor team, but I should have been on Tech last week. I forgot SMU TCU was this week. That was a perfect look at spot. So
if they bomb, I kind of wonder whether they start to think about moving on. And if they do, that is a great group of 5 underdog. Nobody talks about it job.
Yeah, I don't think they can move on. I think Colt is good. He just doesn't know how to win big game. I mean, they compete every year. I don't know. I don't think they just
I don't think they let go of it yet, but man, it just they had State beat, had SMU beat. You got to win those games at Louisiana Tech.
That Hail Mary. I mean, I just feel bad. I mean, I don't know. I just feel bad for everybody associated with that one.
And I love how people are like, "Oh yeah, that was planned." Like, it wasn't planned. The ball just took a crazy carom, and you were there.
There's some kind of like middle thing though, and Ole Miss has had problems with this too for years. It's like you can like compete as an underdog, and when it comes time to close the game, you just can't do it. And I don't know if it's like a fan thing or a player thing or a culture thing, but it's a real thing. I mean, I don't know. It's in Louisiana Tech. They suffer from it more than most. I mean, that was a tough one, but it's
I may end up being wrong here. I don't think under Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss is going to have that deal. They've begun to adopt his personality, and they're pretty calm and cool. Like this week, just kind of an air of, we had players Tuesday and Wednesday, just kind of a quiet confidence, just kind of not arrogant. I mean, Jerry and Ely was, people try to make more of the quote than it was. The quote was just kind of simply, look, I think we're really good, and the only people that can beat us is us. What is he supposed to say? I mean, if a guy goes, I don't know, we're just going to go out there and put our pants on one leg at a time and hope that we get a shot. I mean, I'd rather have a guy that goes, we're going over there to win the game. I mean, that's what we're here for. I mean, that's, it's one thing when the UT Martin coach is a 70-point underdog and he goes, we're going over there to win the game. You're like, shut up. But it's another thing. It's SEC. You're 13th in the country. Yeah, you ought to go with the attitude of nobody can beat us.
Yeah, and I just think I come back to what I said earlier. Just the fact that Ole Miss was able to go up and down the field last year, I just feel like there's a confidence there. Not just is it like you're playing Alabama mentally, but like Kiffin's not afraid of them, Corral's not afraid of them, and that's going to permeate the whole team. And I think that's a big part of it.
I agree. I think it's going to be a fascinating game. Look forward to talking to you next week. We'll visit for the MPW Digital pregame show for Ole Miss and Alabama. Until then, Ben, have a great weekend.
Yeah.
Get a little rest tonight.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me on. I'm looking forward to I'm going to blog and watch LSU Mississippi State like it's the Ole Miss game. And so be on the lookout for that. And already pumped, man. 10 days. The stream. Dave Portnoy and me on the Ole Miss Bama stream. I mean, and that's a year anniversary of the Kentucky video is Ole Miss Bama.
Oh, how about that?
I believe in science in the universe, man. I believe.
Well, there's a lot of people watching this that are hoping it's karma, my man. So appreciate the time. Again, have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
Afternoon. He'll be back on the MPW Digital pregame show about this time next week for Ole Miss and Alabama in Tuscaloosa, which should be pretty interesting. This podcast also brought to you by Automation Control Systems, LLC, owned and operated by Clay McNutt, Baldwin, Mississippi. It's a complete electrical control system solution provider and a Rockwell Automation recognized integrator. ACS has a full-time dedicated emergency service and troubleshooting staff and a UL 508A panel shop. They can custom tailor software packages, custom design electrical control panel solutions, and much more. It's acsllcms.com or call 662-601-4381. Pinpoint Commercial Real Estate's based out of Jackson, Mississippi. They service the entire state in all commercial asset classes, such as retail, office, industrial, and land. They're Ole Miss grads. They pride themselves on hard work and maximizing value for their commercial clients. This week's property spotlights on the Medical Parkway in Flowood, Mississippi consist of 94 acres situated around the newly opened Sheraton Hotel and Conference Center and the newly renovated The Refuge Golf Course. To learn more about one of the most vibrant submarkets in Mississippi and how you might be able to fit into it, call Sam and BB 601-586-3220. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they're uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit and hand-tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi. One size fits one at BlueDeltaJeans.com. Go to BlueDeltaJeans.com, go to the virtual tailor. You can be measured and design your newest jeans in just a couple of minutes. And use the promo code Rebel Grove at checkout. You get 10% off your order. It's a great time of year to get a pair of Blue Delta's cotton Genos in the works, so don't miss out.
Podcast is brought to you by Northeast Spark, NESPARC. You got the Ignite package, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. I've got it at home as well. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com, 662-238-3159. Phone service is available, parental controls, network security, a wireless mesh extender if necessary, although it probably will not be, and much more. Call the office for details. Find out if Spark is available for you. 662-238-3159. Podcast also brought to you by Nix Tan and Associates, nixtanoxford.com for all your real estate needs on the buy side or the sell side. Give them a call at 662-281-1200. You can click the link in my signature on the message board at rebelgrove.com or the 321 content item that they sponsor every single week during football season. So if you're looking for a home here in Oxford, I've used them multiple times. Give them a chance as well. That's Nix Tan and Associates, 662-281-1200. Thanks to Ben for that time there on the show. We will look at some of the games that you guys just looked at as well. We're all the same on some. We've got them kind of moving around a little bit. What's going on with picks for this week? Again, that's at the front at rebelgrove.com right now, brought to you by Service Specialist there on the site. That's a new record for longest caption there on the South Carolina-Georgia game. Got a full conversation between Shane Beamer and Kirby Smart. You can find it at rebelgrove.com.
Look, there's just a lot there. And sometimes we, with our sources, we find out what was said. We want to bring that to you because it's a hard-hitting news piece. It's a very serious piece of content.
Needed a lot of context. Look, Georgia minus 34 at Vanderbilt, 11 a.m. SEC Network. Vanderbilt could very well cover this line, but if I lose, I'll be in a better mood picking Georgia than if I pick Vanderbilt and lose and go, I'm an idiot.
Yes.
That's basically what I'm doing here. Is for my sanity, it makes more sense to pick Georgia to cover the football
It's a real simple conversation in your mind. You say, can Georgia win by more than 34? Yes. Can Vanderbilt score? I don't know. Can Vanderbilt stop them? I don't know. Then why the hell am I betting on Vanderbilt? And they go, well, that's a lot of points. Yeah, but they lose by a lot of points all the damn time.
Yeah.
And so you've got the other thing that you have to think about in games like this is that when Georgia goes to their backups, those cats are like,
and we
hey,
get
this is my chance. And those cats would be the starters at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Vanderbilt scores into the double digits at all, I'll be kind of impressed.
Yeah.
I expect single digits from the Vanderbilt side of things.
And if they get into like 14, 17 points, they're going to cover the line.
They are. But
that's just an L I'm willing to take.
Yeah. Missouri minus 2.5 at Boston College, ESPN2 for this 11 a.m. kick. Boston College is on its backup quarterback. I think Missouri can score some points. I think we all have no, we don't. Zach is different. Zach has Boston College winning pretty handedly. The other three of us have Missouri winning the football game.
I love Zach, but once I saw that, I felt better about it. I was like, you know what? I'm right. I got Missouri. I'm on the right side of this.
1-0. Moving on. All right. Good. Here we go. Look, Boston College is not overly dynamic offensively anyway, and then you take the quarterback away as well. That feels.
And Missouri's okay.
They're fine.
They are. They're fine.
Fix you call Kentucky fine.
No,
Missouri is fine.
So Kentucky, if Missouri is Chili's right now, Kentucky's kind of TGI Fridays, or
you're not ready to go Outback.
Almost
Outback.
Yeah, maybe like Longhorn Steakhouse, where
a poorly run Outback,
yeah.
Where it's typically pretty good, but occasionally you go, yeah, the blooming onion's raw. Oh,
a well-run Longhorn Steakhouse. What you have to do when you, because Carson and I went to
Longhorn has the rolls and the peanuts on the floor, right?
Yeah,
That's their two thing.
You just have to stay in the lane and not pay attention to the other patrons.
Oh, you're just in your own little world.
Got to get in your own world.
I'm here for this purpose.
I'm going to get a draft beer. I'm going to keep this simple.
And some kind of steak cooked medium.
Yeah, and I'm going to get a steak, and I'm just going to order it medium, and it's going to be sustenance.
I still think at those kind of places you order it medium rare, and it comes out medium.
Well, that's what I do.
I think at nice restaurants you can order correct and be very good. It maybe even go a little worse if you're a little weird about raw. Whereas at any kind of chain, I feel like you have to go one less than you actually want.
Because they're going to leave it on there a little
I think
longer.
They're so worried about the normal person not wanting a bloody steak that if I want medium rare, I almost say rare. Medium rare is medium. I
And
think
see,
you're
my
one off.
My fear at one of those places is if I order it rare,
they're so scared they barely cook it.
They're not even going to cook it. Then they bring the cow right to the table, and it's just.
But I'd rather have rare than
It's Logan's has the peanuts on the floor. We're being corrected.
Longhorn doesn't have peanuts on the floor?
I'm not sure. I don't remember. I don't remember peanuts.
Well, typically that's kind of a roadhouse thing anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, look, chain restaurants absolutely have their place. I'm just telling you how to order at them.
Yeah.
There's a method here. That's it.
Yeah. No, I'm not. They
don't order the fish and cook steaks one thing less. That's it.
Yes, they absolutely have their place. Otherwise, they wouldn't all survive the way they do.
Look, when you're by yourself, Outback at the bar is one of your best options.
There's no question about it.
There's games on TV. You get a pretty good beer selection. It's all right. You're cool.
Oh, listen, there's nothing in the world wrong with Outback by yourself sitting at the bar in some strange town. In fact, I mean,
it's the second best thing as opposed to sitting at a really nice steakhouse by yourself at the bar in a really strange town.
Which is fantastic.
It's maybe my favorite thing on earth.
Yes.
I'll be honest. Like that. Hey, you gonna order? Yeah, in a little bit. Just bring me a Sazerac and I'll chill.
What do I miss about traveling? That.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I've been literally giddy on the road before about, hey, that's my steakhouse tonight. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna sit at the bar and.
I've walked into a really nice restaurant, walked to the bar, and gotten the corner seat near the TV and thought, God, this is my day. Yeah. I mean, this is.
I'm here for 2.5 hours.
Can I get you a cocktail? Absolutely. I'm in no hurry. Would you like a menu at some point?
Yeah, sure.
Shrimp
cocktail? Sure.
Don't worry about me. Yeah. I'm going to order. I'll tip you well. Just could you turn that TV right there? Just when you get around to it.
Yeah.
To whatever.
Game on. Cool.
Yeah.
Fine.
5 minutes later, I'm like, hey, thanks, man. Appreciate this. Yeah, the Sazerac is fantastic.
Yeah. No, it's if you don't do it, try it. Trust me, you'll be more than happy that you did.
Yeah, because I'll have people go, "Oh, I couldn't do that." I'm like, you are missing out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because it's quiet, nobody bothers you. It's all good. No one knows you. What difference does it make because in the real world, no one's actually thinking about you because they're not paying any attention to the guy sitting by himself at the bar. But the people that are like, well, everyone in here thinks I'm a loser. But none of them know you. You don't know them, so what you'll never see them again, so what difference does it make?
No.
I actually missed that.
My options in downtown Houston were so good for that a few years ago when I was at Minute Maid for that baseball tournament. As you were like, well, I got that steakhouse, and that steakhouse.
Oh, yeah. And if you're there for 3 or 4 nights, you're like, I'm just going to. And then you battle the deal of, but it was so good here last night.
And that dude knows me. I go back.
Shouldn't I just go back?
Yeah.
Which ends up being the answer. You end up going back, and that's how it works.
Do you get your Big Ten feel out of number 12 Notre Dame plus 5.5 at Wisconsin at Soldier Field on Saturday? Does Notre Dame?
It's Big Ten-ish.
Give you your Big Ten?
Yeah, at Soldier Field, that's pretty Big Ten-ish.
Okay. It'd be more Big Ten if it was Iowa playing Wisconsin at Soldier Field.
Listen, there are a few things more fun. Honest to God. Speaking of, being in Chicago by yourself on an October day and on a Saturday and going and finding like the Iowa bar or the Purdue bar or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's for me, it's actually true entertainment.
Yeah.
Because you get a feel for the different fan bases.
I have Wisconsin covering the game. We have Wisconsin winning the game. You have Wisconsin winning the game. Neither of us have them covering. However, 5.5 felt kind of big in a low-scoring game. And in this one, Jeffrey has Wisconsin winning and covering, and then Zach has Notre Dame winning outright. So that is the
So Jeffrey got one.
That's where we are. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Wisconsin's good. I mean, the Penn State game looks a little better, even though they didn't win it. I mean, they're fine. Wisconsin's
a good team.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
they're a little boring, but they're good.
They are. They're vanilla.
Yeah,
but
good vanilla.
They're a good vanilla. Yeah, for sure.
LSU minus 2.5 at Mississippi State, 11 a.m. ESPN. We've been talking about this game for 2.5 weeks.
I went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
I have LSU winning and covering, but I have no freaking idea. I don't know. This is my mark off if I could throw one out for the week.
So here's where I came down. State's going to be up for this, whether people like to admit this or not. They got screwed.
Sure.
last week. You got to think they've been pretty focused. LSU lost one of their team leaders to injury. I like Mississippi State's chances of answering the alarm bell early than I do LSU's. LSU does not do well a lot of times in 11 a.m. road games. Remember Missouri last year? I mean, they got just absolutely skull-drugged. And I just kind of have a feeling State answers the bell. Although I read your thing, and there's a part of that resonated with me too. Sometimes you want the train wreck so bad that you're trying to will the train off the track.
Because if LSU loses this game, we're straight into just cavernous train wreck mode at this point.
Yeah, just the gates of hell open up.
I don't feel like we're going to have – because, look, we get Ole Miss, Alabama, and a State win over LSU in the LSU train wreck next week. Like, at some point, you can't have everything. So it feels like LSU wins a football game.
Yeah.
Because Southern Miss is not beating Alabama on Saturday.
No.
So we got that. We're all good.
Yeah.
We've got a week that was. I mean, the only thing that potentially changes that game is, I mean, knock on wood, God forbid, anything happen. Bryce Young gets hurt or something is the only thing that changes what that game looks like next week.
Right.
So, Texas A&M, the other one on Saturday. I mean, the night games, frankly, are kind of boring. I have very little interest in anything at night, but the two earlier in the day, very good. Number 7 A&M, 5.5 versus number 16 Arkansas in Arlington, 2:30 CBS.
Yeah, there won't be a home field here. There'll be tons of fans of both teams.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have big crowd.
I've got A&M winning. I just think that I believe in Arkansas even to a certain point. It's not even really an anti-Arkansas thing. It's just I don't know that they can play that level of game week in, week out, where they kind of have an emotional clunker, a little something. There's a feel to this where Arkansas has definitely gotten better. Run game does travel better than some other things,
sure.
But at the same time, it feels like at some point they have a bit of a regression for a week.
I don't even think it's that. I just think this is a bad matchup for them offensively.
Because if they can't run, what can they do?
Well, and A&M's defense is so fast. And so if you get pressure on Jefferson, does he make mistakes? I said this with Ben just then, so I'm being repetitive. The one thing that lent me pause, I ultimately took A&M and laid the points.
Yeah.
The one thing that worries me about that from a betting standpoint is Calzada's not good either.
No.
And so you do the whole, well, Jefferson could cost you points. Yep. And Calzada could cost you points on the flip side because Arkansas is pretty good defensively. Odom's a really good coordinator. They're going to throw looks at him that he's not seen before. And if they can't get the run established, and Arkansas has been pretty good against the run. I don't have the numbers in front of me. If they can't get the run established, this thing gets weird, and it becomes, like Jeffrey said, a rock fight. And a rock fight in the fourth quarter, it kind of depends on who happens to pick up the right rock.
Yeah, because, I mean, in George Orwell mentions it here. I mean, there's a point where, BWL, Arkansas is in a bit of a critical spot. I mean, now they've already got their Texas win, so they're in good shape for that 6 or 7. But just staying in this season a little bit, A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Auburn, the next 4 for the Razorbacks moving forward.
I mean, breaking the SEC is really hard.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on there.
But by beating Texas, they've created a situation where if they could go 1-3 in this stretch,
they're fine. Yeah,
I mean,
they're just trying to get to 7.
Yeah, nobody there is like, hey, this is the year we go to Atlanta. No, nobody's doing that. So they're in free shot territory
for a while.
Yeah, I mean, look, they present matchup problems for other teams. I don't know that they can win one of the next 4 games, but they always play A&M well. 2 years ago, Arkansas was an abysmally bad team,
and
they had the ball in the fourth quarter with the chance to win it.
Yeah.
That was Chad Morris.
Mm-hmm.
That was his last stand, but
sure.
But regardless, they're going to go play that game. Those kids will be up. They've got a couple offensive line issues.
Stromberg's hurt.
Yeah, he's a really good player.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think A&M wins here.
You mentioned you had Auburn's mascot being highlighted as the picture for the Auburn Georgia State game.
The mascot looks sad.
He does look sad. And he doesn't always look sad.
No, sometimes he looks like giddy happy.
He looks sad there.
It's amazing.
Is it head angles?
I don't know. I sat and looked at it for the longest time. How'd they pull that off?
What's he wearing? Is he wearing that Snuggie? What's he wearing?
Looks like he was wearing some sort of a sweater.
Oh, is it a sweater? Doesn't the Auburn Tiger have a Snuggie? Am I dreaming?
Yeah, no.
He has a Snuggie,
That
right?
mascot's one of the best mascots ever.
You have the best and the worst ability to put a tiger in a mascot is Auburn and Clemson. Clemson looked like they bought their mascot at a dollar store down the street. I mean,
Bought it
it's
from a high
awful.
school that was trading it in.
Yeah. Like the high school went, hey, we need a better mascot. And Clemson took it. He's like small and stringy. And it's terrible.
Aubie's terrific. I mean, in terms of.
Because they don't make Aubie try to be like this ferocious tiger.
No, he's like a cartoon tiger.
Yeah, he's Calvin and Hobbes. I mean, it's just.
And he walks around, swings his tail, and he's kind of
goofy.
Kind of
all the
goofy,
time.
yeah.
His mascot, be goofy. That's the point. Apologies for the athletic shark. Look, Auburn.
It's not hard. Why is it so hard to get it right?
They want him to dunk. That's what Michael said. They wanted him to dunk.
It's just so.
So they got one that could dunk.
But how many kids on campus can dunk?
Very few. Yeah.
And
Rumble is a professional.
Yeah, Rumble is the Oklahoma City Thunder mascot, and he is 3 professional athletes inside of a mascot.
Yeah. Look, Auburn beats the hell out of bad teams. Georgia State's a bad team. I'm going to lay the 27 and feel pretty good about it on Saturday. That Auburn will run the score up and find a way to win that.
That's another one where I'm not going to get cute.
I'll
lay my 27, and if they don't do it, then
they just don't.
We can talk about it after it's over and
go,
whatever.
They had a hangover after Penn State, and we'll have that conversation. But I don't think that's the case. I quickly tell you about Johnston Hill Creamery, johnstonhillcreamery.com. You can go to the website, see the current menu, see what they came to be, and they are right there off Molly Bar in Oxford. Remember, when Ole Miss returns home to play Arkansas here in a few weeks, you can get the catering and tailgate menu that delivers straight to your spot in the Grove. Just order what you'd like, 24 hours notice, by calling 662-419-9201 or email cheese@johnstonhillcreamery.com. Everything from artisanal cheese trays to charcuterie trays to plenty of desserts, including the cannolis, the cheesecake dip, the cherry buttermilk canned pies, and much more. So to find out all the different accompaniments and the cheese and meats available to you, again, 662-401-9201 right there off Molly Bar in Oxford.
We're also brought to you by Lammons Fine Jewelry. Lammons, 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. About 75 years of providing just fantastic jewelry service in Oxford. It's the gold standard in fine jewelry. LammonsFineJewelry.com or 662-234-2777. We'll have hand-raised guys tonight. It's brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great products and services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer at 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call 662-429-4429. We'll have a soft verbal. I don't know if it's today. It might be tomorrow. Don't hold me to it, but at some point here soon. It's brought to you by the College Corner. It's your one-stop Rebel Shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, it's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, it's not a problem. Go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. We'll have a Mind on My Money at some point in the next day or so. We're working through Martin's schedule. It's brought to you by Pinnacle, mypinwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com. Also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. It's part of Virtuoso, which is a worldwide network of travel partners that allows John to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits simply not available to other travelers. Get in touch with him, give him some parameters and a budget. He'll give you a ton of options. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. Also brought to you by Service Specialists. They sponsor Neil's Picks with offices in Oxford, Canton, Ridgeland, and Jackson. They've been connecting candidates and employers since 1967. It's the oldest staffing company in Mississippi. If you're looking to hire quality talent for your company, Service Specialist has names and resumes ready for your perusal. If you're thinking about looking for a new job or you're looking to relocate to Mississippi but you have confidentiality concerns, call Service Specialist. No referral fees for those searching for a job either. You've got nothing to lose, so call them at 662-832-5138 or go to servicespecialistltd.com.
Let's see. After Auburn, yeah, you guys are right. Penn State's mascot is atrocious. It actually might be the worst in the country. Now,
how do you screw up a lion?
Have you seen theirs?
I know it's awful, but why?
A 1A high school would be embarrassed by Penn State's mascot.
I just don't.
It doesn't even look like a lion. If you show it to me, go, hey, what is that? You'd never come up with lion.
What is a Nittany anyway?
I thought it was a color. Is it actually a type of lion?
Is Nittany a color of blue, a shade of blue?
For some reason, I thought that, right?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
Or maybe it's Nittany Blue because of, I don't know.
Oh, it's after Mount Nittany.
Oh, there you go. I had no clue.
Oh, I wouldn't have known that if you.
It's an eastern mountain lion is what it technically is.
Hmm.
The mascot was the location of Penn State senior H.D. Mason, whatever.
Yeah.
An eastern mountain lion. I mean, I get how it's basically a cougar. I get how the mascot is a cartoon character of it, but it's nowhere close. It's awful.
Yeah, just get a big lion with
This is dumb.
a mane and stuff, and let him walk around and smile at little kids.
Yeah, I don't understand the overthinking. You're trying to sell things, is what you're doing. So I just sent it to you. There's an eastern cougar, and then, so that's the actual animal. Okay, you got that?
Yeah, that is more like a mountain lion than it is a lion.
Yeah, it's a mountain lion. That's what it is. And then here is their mascot.
That would be scary to run into that some bitch in the.
Oh yeah, no thanks.
the
I'm
wild.
good. Yeah, he wins wherever he is. It's all good. And then that's the Penn State mascot.
Looks like Scooby Doo.
If I said, what is that? How far down the list where you go, oh, that's a mountain lion?
See, I would first guess that's a dog.
You would guess short-eared dog first.
Yeah,
That just has like a ferocious mouth for some reason.
that has like some crazy ass fangs. Yep.
Like if you said, is that seriously, does it really look like either? No. But if you said, is that the mascot for a team that it's the Lions, or is that the mascot at Butler? You would say Butler.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, it's a cougar. Use BYU's. I don't even know what BYU's mascot looks like, but whatever it does, use that one. I guarantee it's better.
Ginger wants someone to get creative with the cougar mascot.
Oh,
You could get off the rails right there.
Yeah.
Might not pass hand raised guys at the school, but yeah.
Tennessee plus 20 at number 11 Florida, 6 p.m. ESPN. I don't believe in Tennessee, but I don't know that Florida has some terrific offense. It is week after Alabama. I think there could be some emotional letdown a little bit. Tennessee is going to at least treat this like a Super Bowl for 8 minutes. I know Mark would predict Florida to win by 47.
I picked Florida to cover because I think Florida walked off the field having kind of, quote, won, end quote, the game.
Sure.
And I don't think there's too many moral victories that you get at Florida, but I think they had won that day.
Yeah, it's just a lot of points. 38-20 or something would not blow me out at all, where Tennessee sneaks in from a coverage standpoint. It's a little worrisome that Tennessee runs so many plays because they're not very good at it. And when you get off the field that much, you're just giving Florida chances and chances and chances and chances and chances. And it can get you blown out quickly. That's a bit of a problem. You picked a great photo for Mark Stoops because I've been staring at it, and I don't know what the best move he should do to fix his hair problem.
See?
Because you're right, he's too heavy to shave it. He will look awful.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's terrible.
Yeah. So
I get why he wears a hat all the time.
What should he do?
It's socially acceptable to wear a dress hat. I almost feel like he needs to wear like dress hats everywhere he goes. Because there's nothing he can do about his hair unless he gets hair plugs.
Because he's too big to wear the tie. So he's got to go.
Yeah.
I mean, the answer is he needs to drop some pounds.
Okay, but that's not the
But if
question.
he's not going to do that, the hair's just not a good look like that. But if he shaves it, he looks like a giant bowling ball.
He does. And looks less professional, honestly.
Yeah.
Because of it's
But he needs to cut it shorter than that.
Well, yeah, he's got the bozo thing going. It's kind of everywhere. He's still trying to save it up top a little bit. Kentucky minus 5.5 at South Carolina, 6 p.m. ESPN. Kentucky's not great, but South Carolina's bad, so I'll take the not great team against the bad team and see where it takes me.
Corey wants to know what the hell a dress hat is. You're referring to like a
I mean, not a fedora, but something, like
Tom
things
Landry
along
hat.
those, hats that you can put with suits and things, and it's socially acceptable that you don't have to take off because you're dressed up. Yeah, plenty of options there. Not like some wide brim Houston Nut hat, but yeah.
But he's in Kentucky. They wear derby hats, right?
I mean, now look, you got to have a certain whatever to pull it off, but I mean, we're choosing the best of bad situations here, so it kind of is what it is.
I mean,
yeah, whatever. I mean, I don't think a newsboy cap would look right on Stoops because of his heaviness, but yeah, things along that.
Look, overweight bald is
just call Wright Thompson, borrow some of his hats, and move on with your day.
That's a thought. Overweight and bald's bad combination. It is hard. It is hard to work around that.
No one is picking Carolina to cover in this football game. Everyone is picking Kentucky. Southern Miss plus 45 at number 1 Alabama. If we'd even let it sit for another day, we'd have gotten 45.5 or 46. 6:30 SEC Network. By principle, I don't lay 45 points. That's all I got.
How much respect for him would you have if he showed up in a Abe Lincoln top hat? I mean, I would be like, dude.
Oh, at that point, sure.
I'm
yeah,
in. I'm
whatever.
I'm buying Kentucky gear.
Like one of those 3 feet tall.
Yeah, absolutely. Where he's like, all right, you know what?
The hell with all of you.
The hell with all of you. Here we go.
Fine.
I'm totally in.
Look, Jeffrey points out Alabama's 1-5 against the spread when favored by 38 points or more in the last 5 years, and they're just 4-13 against the spread when favored by 42.5 or more. Nick tries not to run these games up.
Yeah,
it's 45.
He is not going to want to embarrass Will Hall.
And there's no reason to put any emotional emphasis on this game whatsoever.
No.
Everybody knows Ole Miss is next week. Just chill.
Who's Alabama got next few weeks? It's
I don't know.
Oh, it's Ole Miss, Texas A&M, back to back.
Because Arkansas game times are weird for next week because I was trying to figure out, and there's 3 games that are really competitive right there with the 11, the 2:30, and the night game. Alabama, A&M, Ole Miss, and Arkansas, and Georgia, Auburn are all next week.
Yeah.
And where do you put what? We're going outside the league for our final game. West Virginia plus 16.5.
Ole Miss, Arkansas has 11 a.m. written all
I think it's the ESPN right out of game day.
I do too.
But the only thing that stops me a little bit is Arkansas is already in that game this week.
I don't think it matters.
Probably doesn't, but that's my only even whatever.
Yeah, because so Alabama, Texas A&M is the 2:30 game.
Probably.
I think it's already set.
Oh, is it really?
I think so.
Okay. So one's the 11 and one's the night game.
And you got Auburn, Georgia. That's night. Yeah, I'm just.
The only reason I think it could go night on Ole Miss and Arkansas, what if both teams they could 6 day and wait on this to see if Arkansas did something weird.
That's true. I'm just telling you.
But I think it's 11.
If you made me bet, I'd bet on 11 a.m.
Yeah. West Virginia plus 16.5 at number 4 Oklahoma, 6:30 ABC. Neil has Oklahoma running away with it. I've got Oklahoma covering as well. I just think if Spencer Rattler is going to have any type of year, this is the kind of game he blows out a little bit. West Virginia, definitely not the same team away from Morgantown. Jeffrey has West Virginia just covering at 34-20 Oklahoma, and Zach has Oklahoma winning 34-29 over the Mountaineers. So 2-2 there. We'll see. Not a game I will spend any time on at all, really, unless we have some reason to. While we're talking to you guys for the post-game show. Well, no, we're off. There is no post-game show this week. Never mind. We're still a week away.
I was going to say this is news to me.
Yeah, I'm not going to get together just to watch games on Saturday.
I won't be here.
You're going?
I'll be in Jackson.
Oh, that's right.
Got soccer.
Yeah, sounds exciting.
8 a.m. and 4 p.m. and then 9:30 on Sunday morning.
Oh, that sucks.
8 a.m. He'll want the coach there at 7:15. The coach will want the kids there at 7:15. You know how hard it's going to be to get him to wake up at.
That's a problem.
But dude, wake up. And then get going.
Yeah.
Those 8 a.m. soccer games, it's all about who answers the bell.
Literally. Whoever is up and somewhat awake and ready to go at that point. I don't necessarily, I mean, somebody asked if we had a lock of the week.
No.
Out of all the games, I think Missouri's going to beat Boston College. I feel pretty good about that game.
But I wouldn't want to lock that.
Frankly, my lock might be Auburn, even given 27. I just think they're going to blow Georgia State out this weekend. I know it's a lot of points, but that feels like absolute killing to me in Auburn this weekend.
Yeah, I think that's the one I'd go with too.
The only other one that I'm considering is Kentucky with the 5.5.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think South Carolina's good. So.
We're also brought to you by Alpha Specialties, 1670 Highway 80 in Pearl, Mississippi. They're your trailer-specific professional. If you want to haul it, they can call it at Alpha. It's the premium trailer dealership in Mississippi. They've got spare tires and wheels starting at just $100. A full selection of trailer parts and accessories, hitches, winches, straps, and more. They also do all types of truck accessories. Listeners can get 10% off a yearly trailer service and inspection at Alpha's full-service shop, where they also repair all types of trailers. Concession, horse utility, enclosed, gooseneck, RV, and more. 601-932-9798 or check them out at alphaofms.com. And we're brought to you by The Rogue. The Rogue is your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylish hand-select pieces from top designers. From work to lifestyle to nightlife, there's the perfect something for everyone at The Rogue. All the best items from Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, Duckhead, Halsey, True Grit, and more. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson or therogue.com. Carson's not a morning person. I don't even try to talk to him in the morning. I leave him alone. Like,
get where you got to get to at the time.
You heard the entire depth of my conversation with him this morning when I said, "Hey, have a good day."
That was it.
I just leave him alone. Morning time, he's in his
trying to get.
He's just kind of doing his process. His process requires a certain degree of privacy, I think, and quiet, and I honor that.
Okay.
Now in the afternoons, he's fine. He'll get in the truck in the afternoon, talkative. At night, very pleasant. Morning, not so much. So people are saying there's a double header next week.
Oh.
ESPN. CBS. I don't know. Could be.
If that's true, you could have an A&M Alabama night game next week, and then that would open up 2:30 for Ole Miss and Arkansas potentially.
I would think though they'd go Auburn, Georgia.
I think. Well, it depends.
Well, Georgia's going to beat Vanderbilt,
but let Arkansas beat A&M.
Yeah,
and then
that's
the problem.
Well,
but now Arkansas is going to lose to Georgia next week, so it's
right.
Frankly, I 6-day advance this thing. I need a couple. I need to see some games. I think before I would be able to do this.
That's why they typically wait,
because that would give me all those next weekend of games. Because look, what if Ole Miss wins?
Oh, sure.
Suddenly I got to do something now.
Sure.
Like I got to.
Sure. Well, if you had a scenario where Arkansas beat Texas A&M, and then next Saturday, Ole Miss were to beat Alabama, well, got a different game to it.
Crazy. We'll be back tonight with hand raised guys around 7 o'clock. Probably won't be a ton of sports talked about. We'll have other things, food, Monica Lewinsky, things along those lines tonight on the show.
We do need to dive into that a little bit.
I'm caught up. We can do that. So, yeah, anyway, appreciate everybody today. Again, I know you guys put a ton of questions on the message board. I promise to spend at least half an hour at some point today answering some of those. I'll give you a little bang for your buck there with taking the time to do that. We did not need it. It was just an insurance policy, so appreciate that. Back tonight, and then obviously this will be in all your podcast form. Thanks to Ben Mintz for his time today. We'll talk to you again here in a few hours.